Good evening and welcome to Plain Talk. Incarcerated, pardoned, and apparently unchastened, Mr. Mark Benschop continues to be one of our public figures, taking up social and other issues. On Plain Talk this evening, we will discuss with Mr. Benschop his incarceration, the pardon, and several of the other issues in which he has become personally and socially embroiled. Mr. Benschop, welcome to Plain Talk.
Thank you, Christopher.
Unchastened, would that be a fair description of you?
Well, I say that sums up who I am. Basically, I am not about to be moved. Once I know that I'm on the right track, doing the right thing, representing people in terms of across the board. Chastened, yes.
But the threat of being incarcerated, you spent 5 years in prison. Tell us about that. What has that done? What did it do to you then? What does it feel like to be in prison and not being sure when you're getting out?
Well, like I've said to several persons before, after spending the first year in prison, you kind of become climatized to it. And the sociological theory teaches one to adopt a society. So I adopted myself to the prison. And so I never allowed prison to get to me. I got to the prison. And like I've been telling some prisoners, when you allow jail to get to you, that's when it's going to overcome you. But you must be able to control jail, your life in jail. But it's not the end of the world.
That defeats the whole purpose of jail and imprisonment. It's supposed to, it's payback. It's look, you've done a wrong, you must serve time. It's supposed to be a punishment, a penalty.
Well, it has been punished. It was punishment for me. In fact, I've spent all of my 5+ years in prison in solitary confinement. For the first 3+ years, I've been locked away in the dungeon. I hardly had any sunlight. I came out for about 15-20 minutes, and that's about it.
15-20 minutes, how often?
Per day. Yeah, and that was it. So I didn't allow the fact that I was in prison to get to me. You see, that's what those who sent me into prison, so that they can possibly break my spirit. They weren't able to break my spirit. That's because I didn't allow jail to get to me. I took full control of jail. I walked in there, I said, hey, I'm in control. You're not going to consume me at all.
You spent very little time with fellow prisoners.
Yeah.
Did you do any work among the prison population? Did they think of you as look, someone who was trying to overthrow the state?
Absolutely not. Majority, if not all of the prisoners, were basically on my side. In fact, Christopher, if you recall, there was a protest, I think, in 2005, where hundreds of prisoners were prepared to burn the prisons down. All of the prisons there, in terms of the building. And they took me out of the dungeon. I took control of the situation, and I was able to calm them down. They haven't seen me or view me as somebody who was trying to overthrow the government. They knew then that the charges were basically trumped up. They knew that the government was after me.
What exactly was the charge, Mark?
Treason. I mean, nowhere else in the world would you find such a treason with no evidence, none whatsoever. And in my estimation, and a lot of prisoners felt that way too, that the government was being very vindictive towards me. And vindictive they were.
Yet, the public perception is that you appealed to President Jagdeo for a pardon.
I have never appealed to President Jagdeo for a pardon. I would have preferred to sit in jail, rot, and die. I did nothing wrong. In fact, the state did me wrong. The state took 5+ years away from my life. The state took 5+ years away from my family. The state took 5+ years away from my children. The state has wronged me. And so there was no need for me to write to the president. There was no need for me to appeal to the president for any pardon.
But did you? There was no need.
No, and I want to make this point lucidly clear. At no point in time did I ask the president to pardon me. In fact, when...
Directly or indirectly?
Directly or indirectly. No point in time. In fact, Christopher, when the leader of the opposition visited me, he indicated several days, that's before my release, he said that there is some work in the making. And
some work?
Yeah.
That's his exact word?
Yeah. And that I should write a letter to the president saying that I need an early trial. I said to Mr. Robert Corbyn that I will not do that because I have not done anything wrong. I prefer to have my day in court. I don't want to write to the president. The president at that point in time became far irrelevant to me because he was non-existent. And when Mr. Corbyn suggested that, I said no. I am not going to write to the president. If I am going to send a letter to the president, penned by my lawyers, it's to let the president of this country know that he has violated my rights. And therefore, there's nothing that he can do to replace all the 5+ years that I've spent in prison that has caused destruction in my life. There's nothing he can do. So the state has wronged me.
What did you perceive? That wasn't the first visit by Mr. Corbyn to you.
Now, Mr. Corbyn has visited me on several occasions. Yeah.
Did he offer to intercede on your behalf?
I am not certain whether he would have done that Jack Day would have been able to be moved. You see, the president of this country, there's this perception that he's a very vindictive individual. And regardless of what people say, we see it every day. It's evident that if you constructively criticize the president, he will go after you. He will insult you. He will throw lime at you. He'll tell you that you're sour. He'll tell you that you're stink. He'll tell you that you're a criminal. He'll tell you that you're a man kisser. All these things he tells you because he's the president of this country.
What did you understand Mr. Corbyn to be saying when he said there was some work that's likely to take place?
Well,
did you get the impression that he was negotiating with President Jagdeo on your behalf without a mandate from you?
I honestly don't think that Mr. Robert Corbyn was in any form of negotiation or did any form of negotiating.
So how would he have known? Yeah. What was the basis for him to use those words, some work?
Well, you know, there were human rights groups in the States. There are lots of people who were saying that and found out that I was wrongly incarcerated. There was no evidence against me. I was denied a trial for 4+ years. My first trial ended with 11 of the 12 jurors saying that I'm not guilty. One guy who is alleged to have been unscrupulous, a juror, he was the cause that I was sent back to prison. And so there were groups who were against Mr. Jagdeo, who were against the government for what they have done to me. And so there was a hearing in Washington, D.C., the United States Human Rights Association. And so there were massive protests slated to be held on Labor Day of that year. And so Mr. Jagdeo did not want to be embarrassed. I think he was moved by that. I think he also felt that 5 years was enough and that I learned my lessons. So to take me out of prison, say, look, I pardon you, and that I would leave and stop scratching his back.
What did you perceive as Mr. Corbyn's role during that time, if anything at all?
See, if I were in America, I would have asked you to take the fifth on that. Mr. Corbyn, I want to make this point very clear. He has done his best. He has assisted in areas, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm very thankful.
Best for you, you mean?
Mr. Corbyn has done his best. And
my question is,
not necessarily the best. Mr. Corbyn, like I've said, no one could have moved Jack Day at that point in time. Mr. Corbyn, I have my views about him as an opposition leader. Had he been a strong opposition leader, then there is a high possibility I would not have been spending 5+ years in jail.